Welcome to Guitar Boss Radio with Josh and Rich, and today's subject is going to be: do you charge for the first lesson? Dun dun dun. So, what do you do, Josh? Do you charge or do
That's
you let it live large?
that's a good question, man. So I actually had a conversation earlier today with a guy about this, and he does charge. He charges $25 for a lesson. Me though, however, I don't. I do a free first lesson. So back when I started, back in 2000, she's like 11 or something, like teaching part-time. That's what my friend did. So that's just what I did. I didn't know any different, right? So he just started teaching. He used to charge like, I mean, $20 for like a 30-minute lesson. And of course we were both in school at the time, and like, hey, that's easy money for me just farting around on a guitar or whatever. And so anyway, so he that's what he did. So I just adopted that. And then the longer I did that, the more I understood why it works for me. So I'll kind of tell you why it works for me, I guess. I love doing the first free lesson because it removes the barrier for a parent. So I focus all on beginners, guitar students. So you look at my Facebook profile, it says, I teach beginners how to play guitar. Like that's it. That's who I am. That's what I do, who I serve. So who I'm serving are the students, but even broader, like I'm actually serving parents too, because I'm giving parents an opportunity for their kids to try something basically. So that's the backbone of my marketing, but that also ties into the marketing of the first free lesson. So I always do. I try to think of ways to remove barriers, right? So one barrier is obviously money. I can't afford to do like guitar lessons. Johnny just tried soccer or football. I had to go buy cleats and shin guards and goalie gloves. Well, then they tried dance, and they, I had to go buy dance shoes. They didn't like that. The last thing I want to go do is go buy a freaking guitar and a tuner and then them hate it 3 months later, right? So that's
Yeah,
a barrier to entry. So I removed that by saying, look, first lesson is free. Okay, another barrier to entry is like, well, I don't have a guitar. Like, how do I need to go buy one or rent one or whatever? No, no. I always go buy one or two studio guitars that are just like $150 or $100, maybe 200 at the most. Always have them laying around because that's another easy barrier to entry. And side note, what I end up doing is for the students who rent those guitars, say I bought it for like $150, right? I just charge $5 a week to rent it. Very minimal. Uh, Again, I want to remove that barrier to entry. I don't want price to be a reason for them not to do it, right? But then again, I charge $200 a month for lessons, so I don't want to overdo it. I'm not trying to make money on the guitar. I'm just trying to remove the barrier to entry and just make it easy for them to come in. And what I do, and I could be a stupid businessman for doing this. I mean, tell me if I am, but like uh, every dollar that they put toward the guitar and rental fees, I subtract off the price of what I paid for the guitar, with the idea that if they paid $150 and they rent it for 1 month, well, that brings it down to $130, right? Um, and usually by the time you get to the $120 range, parents are like, well, I might as well buy it. I'm like, yeah, you might as well buy it. Like, that'd be great. So they end up buying it, and I take that money and I go buy another guitar, and then the cycle just starts, right?
yeah,
So just this year, I just went and bought two more guitars last week because it was an incredible deal on some 3/4 size ones.
yeah.
And I'm doing the same thing. I mean, I'm renting one out already, and likely it will get sold, right? So that's just the way I do it. Anyway, the whole idea: free lesson, remove the barrier to entry. I've had more luck that way. It relieves the pressure from the parents from feeling like they have to super commit to something before they even know if their student likes it. I have had several lessons, that didn't go great, or the kid may be too young. I had a 5-year-old try it. He could not get the fingers to hold the frets. And so, a week later, I contacted the parents and said, hey, I just gotta be honest with you, like, I don't think he's quite ready. I think he's interested, but he's not quite ready yet. And she was like, oh, I'm glad you said that because I totally agree. Like, but I didn't want to tell you, they didn't want to come back or whatever. But I was like, no, but I think just being honest and forthright and saying it like it is, sort of with some love and grace is the way to go. But anyway,
Yeah.
all that to say, yes, I don't charge just to remove barriers, but the flip side is I do see the benefit of charging a nominal fee like $25 or something, like, just because that will what's the word, it'll weed out all the tire kickers. People that are going to pay for it are gonna show up. They're gonna come ready and hungry to learn if they're paying for it out of the gate. So I see both sides. What about you?
So when I first ever started, 2017, I did charge every lesson because I was traveling to people's homes. So just by doing that, you know, I had to charge something. So it was always 20 quid for half an hour, 30 quid for an hour. Pretty simple, cash in hands most of the time, sometimes bank transfer. And that was fine, but you know, teaching people's homes very choppy. But when I got the studio, the franchise I was part of suggested to do a 5-week introduction course, which was £79. So what, $80 or something? So it's pretty cheap, $80–90, 5 weeks of lessons. So basically, you know, $20 a lesson or something, maybe less. And that just gets them in the door, and you kind of have some immersion. You can see if they will survive past the 5 weeks, and you can say you're not practicing. You can't, you know, then go in one of the groups, and it kind of qualifies them further. So if a kid is really enthusiastic but never ever practices, you don't necessarily want to put them in a group where it's like the other kids are practicing, blah blah. But you know, when you're building student base, I was kind of just ignoring that and just trying to get people to come in anyway. So the fact that they had to pay on the spot, you know, helped, but it was a cheaper price. So it was very much a volume style business, really. So I was building up lots of little groups doing that. 5-week introduction, which was 1-to-1, and then after the 1-to-1, they go into a group. But then some people got a bit freaked out by the thought of going into a group because they got very comfortable me teaching them and that kind of loops. They got used to that, and suddenly 5 weeks is like a bit of time. You know, it's not a short amount of time, especially if they've been practicing at home, coming back, blah blah blah. But now, since whenever I changed franchises, I think in the summer or maybe slightly earlier in the year, I've gone to the free demo class, which, you know, it works fine. Again, if they don't have a guitar, they can just use the studio one, but they don't get to take it home. I haven't got the system in place that you have. But yeah, I've toyed with some different ideas. I think the free demo is just, like you said, low barrier to entry. They can come in and they can just try it out, and you can see what they're like. Because I had this mum bring in a couple of her 2 kids who were like, you know, 6 and 8, but you know, they weren't really fit for weekly lessons. So that free class meant that, yeah, I did spend half an hour, 45 minutes teaching them, but I knew they weren't the right fit, so I didn't contact them, and then they emailed me saying, I don't think it's going to work. So I said, I just left that. So it works well like that. But if you can see they're really excited, the parents can see their kids are enjoying it, which, you know, 99% of the time they do enjoy the lesson. It's just getting around those other barriers. Location, is it going to take a long time to get here? You know, am I going to be able to afford it? Are they going to give up after 2 weeks? Kind of thing, like you said. So, you know, renting the guitar would help with that. So another thing that I wanted to try, which would be more of a automatic booking setup where you'd have like a video sales letter, is that they pay for a 7 or 14-day trial. So it's like 0, they put their credit card down, and then they have the free lesson, or maybe 2 free lessons if you like. And then they can either leave it and carry on, or they can cancel it. So that was something else I was trying to figure out. Because if they put their card down, then that shows that they're willing to put, you know, put some money into the lessons. But if they're not, then yeah, if they've gone through everything, put all their information in, put their card down, then, you know, it may make them more likely to buy it, but I'm not sure yet. That's another thing to
Yeah. Yeah, that is totally a thing to test. You know, as you're talking, I'm thinking, dude, I trust people way too much. Like, I should probably come up with a system to do this because, you know, when they show up without a guitar, I don't know what it is, man. I try to extend as much like trust as possible from the get go to show them that, dude, I'm in it for your best interest. I'm not trying to take advantage of you or whatever. And maybe I overdo it, but they'll come in. For example, I had a recent student do this. I just bought this used classical guitar. It's an incredible deal on it at the music shop. I wanted it really for myself. I bought it for the studio though. I was like, I mean, if I had to sell it, I would, but I really don't want to. Um, but it's great because I have the nylon strings. It's easy to play, good for beginners and all that. And so I had a student come in and she was interested, but she didn't have a guitar. I was like, well, just take this guitar and you know, I'll let her take it without a credit card information. I mean, I had her name, her number, and her contact info, but I didn't have a credit card. I didn't have a form or release or whatever. It's just I was really trying to extend the trust variable of saying, look, I'm gonna let you take my studio guitar, kind of no questions asked, and almost, you know, not expectation, but like, you know, and I tell them before they leave, I'm like, look, you know, I hope to see you again next week. Please back, you know, please come back. At least if you're not going to take a lesson, just bring back the guitar. But I'm gonna at least let you take it and test it and try it because you need to practice what you just learned.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to have the interest to continue. You'll come back next week and start over from ground zero. So I try to like spark the ignition in the first lesson or spark the interest, and then let them take a guitar home. For me, is just a way of saying, okay, fan the flame this week. Let's build that flame up to a little more. So next week they come in like, oh yeah, I did get the first half of like happy birthday. I mean, that's just what I normally introductory lessons for me. It's just let's learn the first half of happy birthday, have some fun, walk away with the win, and then your homework, which I don't even call homework, I call it fun work. Your fun work for the week is to try to figure out by ear the rest of happy birthday. You
Yeah.
know, and so anyway, just something super simple, challenge them a little bit. And usually, I mean, I tend to have good luck with that. It's not always, I certainly haven't batted 1,000 at that. And luckily, knock on something, I've had every guitar returned to me. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be a day where they never come back and they disappear and I'll never see it again. But I should probably put something in place for that.
Well, I guess you could just in Stripe you can set up a trial thing. So whatever the cost of the guitar is, how much is a guitar generally? $200.
Generally about 200 US. I mean, I may get a deal for 150, but I mean, a decent, good beginner guitar, you know, like
Yeah.
usually I get like Fender. Just so side note, like I bought at least 20 guitars this year from my local music shop. And we just got the system with new students come in, I buy a guitar there, but they have sent me so many leads because they know I want to buy a guitar from them. And so I think they've given me 6 or 8 students just this year because there's 5 other guitar teachers on the wall, but they only refer me because I just have done so much business with them. So that's a
Yeah.
little side note. But anyway, yeah, Fender is typically a good brand for me and beginners just because they have a CD60, which comes with a hard case, all for $200. It's a good full size, or I may go with the FA like either I think it's a FA 15, it's a 3/4 size. They're just decent, good guitars, man. And you know, you're not going to be on the road traveling playing shows with them, but to get going out of the gate, man, it's a good guitar. So anyway, that's typically the range.
Yeah, so you could just say, yeah, we'll just if you could just add your card on file, and we won't charge anything, but just
I think I am going to start doing that now that you said that. I'll probably just say, look, yeah, you can take it, but go ahead and let's get in here. Let's upload your card. Should something happen, you know, you'll be charged for the guitar, but just bring it back, no charge. And then starting that week, we'll start renting it. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in my policies. Thanks to you.
well, you could do that 7-day trial thing, where
Mm.
put your card down, you get the guitar, and then if you want to come back, you leave everything, and then the $200 will come out, or the 199 or whatever. And then, but if you don't want it, just come back with the guitar, and we'll get it cancelled before this 7-day trial is finished, or whatever.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what's up.
maybe make it 8 days so that if they come the same time the next week, they've got a day's grace, so they can give the guitar back and just make sure it's
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Um, but you might have to test it because the system you've got going right now is working quite well. So it's like, do you touch the system that's working?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, you're right. I mean, don't fix it if it ain't broke. Maybe I've just been super lucky, but um, yeah, so far it hadn't been a problem. But that would be when it comes to scaling and scalability, you've got to put the structure in place. I need to go ahead and just do it, honestly. But yeah, I may test that and let you know. I mean, I may talk to you in a month and be like, dude, I tried it, and now no one's continuing these free lessons because they don't feel like I can trust them or something. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe when you hit a certain amount of students.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So as I looked up my local music shops, there's a big one, which is like, I don't know if it's worldwide, but it's definitely UK wide, called Guitar. But there's a little one called Riley's, which is near me, but they do guitar lessons in-house already as part of the guitar shop.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to think like through who I should build a relationship with music shop wise, because I actually just tend to either ask the parents to buy the guitar through me, where I'll just add sort of a little bit of extra cash, that's sort of getting into the studio, unpacking, chipping away all the wrapping, and then tuning the guitar so it's ready.
Yeah.
Um, so I just charge a bit extra for that, or they just buy it on Amazon and just go straight to their house for like, I mean, the guitars that we get them to buy are so cheap. They're like $50, maybe $40 sometimes. And you get like a guitar, a strap, a bag, and you get all this stuff. And I know like the reason I don't get them to buy more expensive guitars is because 99% of the time they actually sound quite nice. They don't sound it, if you compare like a Martin or a Taylor to it, then obviously it's completely different. But
Yeah.
most of the time it sounds great, and occasionally there's like a fret that buzzes, but generally they're all fine. So
Yeah,
then
that's been my experience.
maybe a year later or 2 years, once the kids really dedicate, the parent will buy them another guitar. Even though you can buy a half decent guitar for £200 or $200, parents don't always want to fork out money where they don't need it.
That's right.
But anyway, so yeah, I think either method works really. I think the main selling is either on the phone or through the trust that comes through either the music shop. So people going to music shop, they're genuinely interested in learning an instrument. And so if the instrument shop owner is saying this is the guy, that trust and all of that stuff has warmed the lead up to then come to you, and they think you're the guy for the job and you're going to solve my pain point, we call it, to learn my favorite song. So that's also, you've got that warmed audience already. So going in for a free demo just means that, it's working. But I know plenty of guys who do the 5-week introduction and it works great for them. It's worked great for me over the past 4 years. So I think as long as you're not, sitting there half naked, smelling of fags and booze and, shouting at the kids, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
I know there's sales tricks where not tricks, but like ways to warm up the customer through your advertising and video introductions and calling them, asking them the right questions, and then doing the right thing in the intro classes. All of that stuff that you can do, which is awesome, but it can get quite technical. But ultimately, what I found is, if someone really wants to learn the guitar, they just come and then they buy the lessons and they get into it.
Mhm.
Anyway, did you have any final thoughts on that?
No, man, just good input. You come out of this and you always learn something new, man. So I'm gonna start doing the little take the credit card info beforehand. It's a great idea. And other than that, the only thing I'm working on the side is I just saw an ad from Fender because I was talking about Fender earlier. where they're doing a buy. You know how they have like a little Fender app, learn how to play. I think it's called Fender Play.
Yeah.
They're giving away a guitar with a
Wow.
year subscription, which is it's a year subscription for $150, and they're giving away a Fender. I think it's a FA15N, which is just a 3/4 size nylon string. Great for beginners. I got a student that uses one; he loves it. I'm probably going to buy it honestly because it's a pretty good deal for this guitar. But there's a lot of people on there just asking questions. So one of my organic marketing strategies I'm trying out, I'll touch base maybe in a few weeks and let you know, is I'm going in there and I'm starting to respond to people's questions and comments because I know all about this guitar. Is it good? Is it cheap? Whatever.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're going to click on my profile, and my profile set up like a funnel. So hopefully they'll, oh, well, I get a year with this app. But once they figure out after a few months that apps are not the answer, usually, hopefully they'll call me, you know. So we'll see if it pays off. But that's what I'm working on the side, on the marketing side.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure someone will. They like your face and like that what you offer and see what everything you've got going on, and want to jump in. So
Mhm. That's it. That's it. But no, man, that's all I got today, brother.
planting those seeds.
Always, always.
Well, great chatting to you as ever. Guitarboss.co, joshgillis.com. And
That's it.
we'll see you. Yeah, if you've got any questions, anyone out there, feel free to comment or shoot an email to hey@guitarboss.co. Or what's your email, Josh? If you want online.
Just hey at guitarboss.co is great, man. Or if you want to go Josh at joshgillis.com, either one, man. We'll get back to you guys. And certainly, man, if you're listening to this, man, you're part of the group. You're along with the ride. We're learning as we go every week. So keep just tuning in, ask questions. Let's keep helping each other. And the rising tide lifts all ships, man. Let's just all just go ahead together and keep getting better.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys in the next podcast radio.
All right, adios.
Take care.